Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Super's Mayhem, and this is the Hilux build. I haven't done a video like this for a while, so I just wanted to give you a bit of update of what I've done and what I'm going to do today on this video. So stick around, I'll play the intro and then we'll come back with some more builds for the Hilux. Alrighty, there we go. So at the back, I got this 80 litre water tank, and it fits absolutely perfect behind my drawers. You'll notice I've now taken out the camp kitchen at the moment because I needed to take it out to install this because it just wouldn't fit. Still got the King's box up there. Haven't installed anything on that yet. I've upgraded my the PV, or whatever you want to call it, the regulator for the solar panels. So it's a much bigger unit. It's a 40 MPT, that's what it is, an MPPT 40, so it's a MPPT 40 T40 model. So I've upgraded that. What I did also is I've taken out that battery box. I used to have the battery box just sort of sitting on the back bit here, but what I've done is I've mounted it underneath this panel and drilled a couple holes in there. All my wiring is coming up through here and just mounting onto it. This will be covered in, it'll have a shelf here, the compressor will be there, so all of this should be actually pretty well hidden. That'll tape up, that will all be underneath, and I'll make a little guard up for that, just to cover it. That's my connection right there, the Anderson that runs to the solar regulator. So that's no issue, I can just disconnect it and connect that to something else when I need to, just through this window. On the opposite side, what I've done for the water tank, I've plumbed it up with some hose, and that goes underneath the drawers here and comes into an isolation valve and the water pump, and then just out the back later that's going to be hooked up to a hot water system, but for now I've just got it coiled up out the back like so, and then yeah, I've just wired that water pump up to my control panels, which I'll give you a bit of a look. So you'll see, which one is it? Water pump. Let's see if we can scare the dog. She's just down there. Alright, so there we go. We've got water and pretty good pressure actually, which would be I think more than enough for the hot water system and a shower. But yeah, like I said, there's the box down there, the battery box, which I just took apart. So it was just too much room and sliding all over the place. I just didn't like it, so I'm gonna just rewire everything in the ute for now. But yeah, I'm going to. There's the compressor. It's an ARB twin air compressor. So I've got that mounted on the board. But what I've done is I've got a tank underneath the car, which I'll show you now as well. So up underneath the car here, I've got a holding tank, or a pressurized tank, and then I've just run some plumbing through to the connection, and then up the other end is another connection that I've got to run out to where we plug in to pump up our tyres and everything else, and I still haven't worked that out yet where I'm going to mount that, but we'll do something with that later. But yeah, I wanted to get all of the plumbing up. So that box just there is going to mount basically just here, and then this will come up, plug straight into the bottom of the compressor, and then that'll feed that tank underneath the battery and underneath the body of the car. So yeah, we'll keep going, we'll see what else we can do. Alright, there we go. So the box is back in. It was relatively easy actually. I did put a little bracket right above the water tank just there. If you can see it, there's just a little angle bracket just to firm it up, but it's actually pretty solid. So yeah, that's pretty good, pretty happy with that. The one issue I did have was obviously where that filler cap is, kind of halfway through the board, so I just took off the little flat piece in here, which I'll show you now. So just in here, there was a flat piece before that used to be here, like a little shelf, but I've just made it so I can actually access this filler cap pretty easily. Yeah, we just undo it there, flip it over, run the hose in, and plug it straight in, tighten her up again, and yeah, that's it pretty much. I'll just put all these back in. I've still got to cut these a bit deeper for more spoons, and then I'm going to make some little clips that hold everything in there pretty good. That one will have a clip. Yeah, just a whole bunch of clips on here just to hold everything as I'm driving. And yeah, I've still got to finish off this one, which will be filled, and then we'll have the cups, a few cups in there. So yeah, that's pretty much what it's like so far. The compressor, like I said, I've mounted it on that board. All I've got to do now is join that one onto my copper pipe that I welded up, and just get that hooked onto there, hose clamp it, and then I've got to just run all the wiring, hide the wiring, make it look a bit neater, and then the like I said, the switch is going to be over here, compressor, so we'll be able to just flick that on, it'll pump up the tank underneath, and then we can just roll it out to wherever we need it. And that's pretty much it. I've got to still run a bit of power, so I kind of left it, I shouldn't have done it so soon, but it shouldn't be too hard to do. So I've got power running through, but I've got to get power to the King's box up there so I can have other accessories later on. I think I've got everything else. I've got the side lights up here wired up, so they're good, left and right. Got the cabin lights, which is somewhere, the little clicky light somewhere for that. I've got the tailgate lights, which I haven't wired up yet. They're wired up, but I just haven't hooked them up, I don't think. These were going to be little LED strip lights for underneath here, and obviously the water pump is all good, as you can see. So yeah, well, might come back once I've got that, and might do some, maybe just see if I can find the connection and wire it up and get that at least filling up the tank, or at least get power to it so I know that it works. Alright, there we go, that's hooked up now under here and clamped off, and I've actually had it running, so it's actually pretty warm. So I do have a switch here, and I've got the power cord which goes to the Anderson plug. So I've just run it to that one that I showed you that was on this wall, which hooks up to the solar panels. I'll just disconnect it and run the temporary lead out to that just to fire it up, and then use the switch. I'll get it running in a second and show you, but at the moment it's just started to rain, so I'm gonna just chill out for 5. But yeah, that's all hooked up, and surprisingly enough, that one there doesn't leak. There was a couple of little leaks underneath as I was running it. Managed to seal them up pretty good. The tank isn't pressurizing and holding, it's just constantly pumping into it, so I've still got a little bit of work to do to it. But in saying that, I just pumped up all 4 of my tires and it had no issues, so I'm not too worried. But anyway, I'll show you running in a minute, and then yeah, whether or not I get it wired up to my switch over here today or not, but we'll see how we go. Right, this side we've got the the water pump like I showed you before, but I've got this 2500 amp hour inverter, power inverter. So on the front, you've just got your couple of outlets and your on-off switch. On the back, we've got our positive and negative. I've got the power that I ran through before for the what was it, for the air compressor. I'm still contemplating whether or not I even use that switch there, the compressor switch, as to whether I run the power over or not. This is why I put this over here, so I could do that. I think I might use this to run the power inverter. I've got a fuse which I'll hook onto the positive side of things, run it to there, and then that'll give us power straight from the battery. And then I'll end up making a mount at the front here. I'll cut all this out and make a mount there, so the power leads and everything just plug straight in there. Maybe make it hinged or something like that, I'm not sure yet, but that'll be where our power supply comes in, so we can run whatever we want. But 2500 watt solar power inverter is yeah, more than enough to run quite a lot of things. I've got this little tiny one as well. That's only, I can't even remember, it's not very big. What do we got? 150 watts. So that's only 150 watt, whereas this one's pumping out 2.5. So yep, it's old school. Obviously you can tell that by the size of it, like a brick, but it is pure sine wave. And yeah, that's it. So yeah, what I've done is I've just mounted it on the back already, just a couple screws, mounted it to the board, and that will stop it from rattling. And yeah, it turned, like I said, perfect, worked out perfect. It actually sits underneath out, oh, it does, a bit over one hand, but it actually sits perfectly flat underneath there, so it doesn't even affect it. And there's plenty of air draft for that fan that kicks in, comes in, it's all joins up through there, and got ventilation up there, so it should be pretty good. We'll see how we go. Alright, so I've got it wired up now, positive and negative. Fuse, last thing I did, I took the fuse out, hooked up the positive, whacked the fuse in, and you'll see in here, maybe you'll see in there, where are we? Just here somewhere, where's my finger? Here there's a little switch. There you go, you can see it. So we've got power. The next thing, I guess, to test, I've just got my grinder out here, so I will get on there. What's going on? Yep, that's it. Alright, so that's plugged in. Now, one final hope to gosh that it works. We'll see. Oh, there we go. So this is a 710 watt runs at. So that's good. So what do we got? We've got 12.3. And it's 11.9. The battery's only running 12.3 because I've fairly drained it the other day and I hadn't charged it, and the solar wasn't hooked on, so it's not fully charged. But I'll have to get out the charger and flick the charger itself on and get the battery fully charged. But yeah, that should, obviously it will drain quite a bit of your battery, but at least it will run a grinder for a little bit, so that's pretty handy. Good stuff. So yeah, now like I said, with that all in place now, this by rights should, I'm trying to do it again with one hand, but we'll see. It does. Just doesn't look like it, but I'll manipulate it and get it in a minute. But yeah, that, like I said, that power inverter now is hidden under here, so we've got heaps more room, which is just what I wanted. So yeah, cool. I'll show you how the compressor goes. It's not the most permanent feature at the moment. Just got a couple of zip ties holding it on there, but I'll weld up a bracket and probably mount it somewhere up here, just so it's accessible and yeah, a bit more permanent. But that's it. We got that, and it reaches obviously all four tires. Reaches there. Reaches there. Reaches there, and reaches there as well, so all four tyres will be easily accessible. Now, like I said, I haven't hooked up the permanent power supply yet, but I've run it so it runs around the back here. You see, I've got all the cupboard all back in. Down in here is, if you can see, on the wall down there somewhere, yeah, on the back wall there is the Anderson plug that runs from the solar. So I just disconnected the solar, which is that one you can see, and then just plug that one in. And to show that it works, there's the switch. Like I said, I might end up mounting it in there. It's running pretty good. Straining the battery. Like I said, I've got to get some power onto the battery just to charge them fully again, but yep, she works. And there's the inverter in behind there. So like I said, I'm going to probably cut out this place here and maybe put it on a hinge so it will fold back, and then have a clip that will hold it in place, just so it's covered up. But when we want to access our power, it's just a matter of just unclipping it and folding it out, plugging whatever we want in. And the water tank. Yep, sweet. Alright, so we just got one last finishing touch, and for all those people that know me pretty well, know I love my detecting. So I've got a little spot here where I just hang my Knox, so that sits just up there, so whenever I want to go out detecting, it's there. I don't leave it in the car obviously, but so whenever I'm traveling to and from sites, that's where my detector lives, and just lives up on this custom box that I made. Alright, there we go. So it wasn't much of a build as such video, showing you how I did it. I sort of just did it because it's a bit hard to film at the same time, unlike my other videos where I filmed myself doing everything. But this one I just wanted to show you. I mean, it doesn't look the prettiest. I know people might comment on these things and everything else, but it's practical. It's what I want it to look like. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but that's mounted pretty solid. It's accessible to just flick it on. My lead is out the front, which you would have seen, and that just reaches all four tires, which is pretty handy. Still got to do the wiring for changing it over so I can have the switch, so I might end up mounting the switch up inside in here, and then take this panel off or cut through, drill in under here and run it all, plumb it up, and the same as the actual power supply to an Anderson plug. The water tank, I didn't show you installing the water tank or anything like that, but that is all now installed. As you will see, there's the filler tank, and then there's the breather. The breather obviously will just crack when you're using it, and when you're traveling you just close it off. Same as that, so that's accessible now because I've got that access through the other side to be able to do that. So like I said, this looks good, this looks good, this looks good, this looks alright. That not as pretty, but doesn't really matter. Like I said, it's practical. So now when we go detecting trips, camping or whatever, we've got plenty of water. Like I said, that's 80 litres of water. We got be able to pump up our tires, which is a great thing. We've got under this one, we've got our 2500 power inverter, so we can run if we want to bring one of the little camp ovens, or even just to charge the laptops and things like that. We got all that. I've done all the lights as I showed just before. We got the interior light now, which works bloody great. So we've got plenty of light, and we've got the like I said, the new MPPT solar regulator, and I don't really understand what all that's about, but it's a bit overcast at the moment, so I don't know if the panels are really doing much for the charging of it, but it's saying we're at 12.7 watts, I believe. I don't know, and it's putting out 8.4 with those panels, like I said, because they're it's very cloudy outside today and it's raining. Yeah, I'm not sure what all the rest of it is, but yeah, it's working fine. Next job I'm going to do is obviously that power inverter. I'm going to actually run those power leads off and come up into the box here, and then actually fuse it onto the main fuse panel here, and then just have the switch there, so when we want to use the power inverter, we'll actually flick that switch on and just leave that one in there on. I guess that's probably what I'm thinking anyway. And same as the hot water system, that'll probably run back to here because the water pump is in here and the everything else is there. So we'll have the water pump, the water heater just sitting in here, and then when we want to use it, we'll just take this window, lift it out, bring it out through the window, and have a hook on the outside that it just plugs into, or just clips onto, so we can actually have a shower out next to our tent. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. It's like I said, it's practical for me. It's not the greatest of builds of anything, but it gives people an idea of what they might be able to do, and when they want to set up their Hilux or at the back of their actual utes, your trays or whatever, with everything that you need. So like I said, this is just for me. We've got everything we need for camping and all that sort of stuff and our adventures. Plenty of charging points, which you will see. I've got loads and loads of USB ports, so I can charge my GoPro and drone, and even my metal detector and things like that when we're out here. So yep, that's it for now. Thanks guys for watching, and yeah, we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out, stay moist.